Good morning, I'm Epiphany Catling. Thanks for joining us for Mornings on the Hill.
And I'm Allison Caliguire. Here's a look at some of the stories we'll be talking about over the next hour.
This is National Eating Disorder Awareness Week. We'll tell you what Syracuse University is doing to promote a healthy body image.
President Trump is proposing allowing teachers to carry guns in school to keep their students safe. We'll have reaction here on campus.
Applications for the iPrize competition are open. We'll tell you more about how teams are preparing.
All that plus your weather and orange sports coming up in this hour of Mornings on the Hill.
Time to check on the weather today. We've been having a super spring-like weather here in Syracuse, but how long will it last?
Our own Maya Owens is live on University Ave to tell us what to expect.
Hey guys, well, I don't know how long this weather is going to last, but let me tell you, it feels amazing out here. It's hard to believe it's the end of February, but as we head into March, the skies are going to be looking pretty clear. Well, for the rest of the week, however, it's going to get a little unclear, mostly because we have some 60% chance of rain coming our way, with a high for today being the 59 and low of 37. Today will be the highest temperatures we see this week. Moving on to Thursday with another 60% chance of rain and with a low of 34 and high of 47. Thursday will be the perfect day to stay inside and get that extra work done for class. Friday will kick off for the weekend for us, but unfortunately we will most likely be singing in the rain. With a 90% chance of rain and low of 28, you might not notice a high of 36. Be sure to be careful on the slick roads because this can definitely lead to accidents. Saturday, there's a 20% chance of rain with the low being 26 and high of 25. So just be on the lookout on your way to the Carrier Dome for the last men's basketball home game. As for Sunday, it seems the sun will be making an appearance with a low of 25 degrees and a high of 38. Only a 20% chance of rain, so just be sure to look out your window before going outside to enjoy your day. Now, although these weather conditions may change, we might be seeing some snow this weekend, so be sure to just be on the lookout for the weather, and you might need to grab a coat along with your umbrella. Back to you guys in the studio.
Our top story this half hour, events on campus this week are encouraging students to have a healthier outlook on body image.
Our own Alexis Scott is live in the newsroom with how Falk College and the College of Visual and Performing Arts are working together to bring awareness to the growing issue.
This week kicks off National Eating Disorders Awareness Week. SU will host a number of events to talk about dispelling myths and offering information about resources that are available to students on and off campus. This year's theme is It's Time to Talk About It. Falk College and the College of Visual and Performing Arts are bringing a special guest to speak on body image for both men and women. Eating disorders are a growing issue across many college campuses, and having the conversation about it can sometimes be a struggle.
We have 30 million Americans who have some kind of eating disorder.
So, Syracuse University is making an effort to create a more comfortable environment for everyone.
Falk College is bringing in Emmy to give a talk.
The College of Visual and Performing Arts and Falk College are teaming up to bring supermodel Emmy back to her alma mater. She'll be speaking on the importance of body image for women and men.
It's really that media that's putting up this ideal image that boys and girls and men and women are trying to live up to, which is not very realistic.
SU has events lined up to get people engaged about the importance of eating healthy and staying well. Being healthy is as easy as walking through these double doors right here, right on Marshall Street, to doing something like this. Or you can do things like go to your local cafeteria and pick up healthy fruit options like this here. Newhouse professor Harriet Brown has written extensively about body image and eating disorders.
I think these kind of conversations don't happen in official settings.
But she thinks tackling the topic directly can help in the future.
We need to be having them everywhere, all the time, at home with our families, with our friends.
This issue is something that with time, Professor Brown believes can change.
You can address as an individual, or the university can address. I think the best we can do is just sort of air this stuff, talk about it, take away the stigma of talking about it.
Amy's Talk is open to all students and takes place tonight at 5:15 in the Herg Auditorium here at Newhouse. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Alexa Scott for Mornings on the Hill.
Following the Florida school shootings 2 weeks ago, President Trump has talked about training and arming teachers with guns.
He's suggested a pay bonus to school staff for carrying the weapons. Trump also promised federal funds to train them. At a White House discussion on school safety, Trump said, quote, highly adept people who understand weaponry could carry guns in schools. Here on the SU campus, we asked students what they think. Zach Parnes thinks there should be other priorities.
Instead of thinking how the county is going to afford weaponry for its teachers, how about the county or the school boards start thinking about how they're going to screen every single student to make sure that this kind of stuff doesn't happen again.
President Trump also proposed regulating violent content in movies, video games, and online because he believes it's shaping young people's thoughts.
2 weeks after the mass shooting, people are remembering those that were lost in the tragedy.
Syracuse University student Molly Falk attended Camp Starlight in Pennsylvania, where teacher Scott Beagle worked.
Having gone to camp since 2005, Falk described him as an important part of their camp community.
She also described him as a mentor with a great sense of humor and a passion for working with kids.
Falk said that Beagle's parents have begun a scholarship fund in his honor. Syracuse University students from all majors are introducing their business ideas to a panel of judges this month.
Our Amnea Amnubushab joins us live with more.
Thank you, ladies. I'm here outside of Byrd Library where student teams are practicing their business pitches for the RVD iPrize competition. I had a chance to sit down with one of this year's competing teams to see what their experience has been like. Ravel is a network of travel filmmakers that create videos of their adventures and sell the mapped-out itineraries to travelers. Pitching their story ideas is no new task. Two of the three co-founders, Tay Lottie and Kevin Rick, say their goal is to make it to the state-level competition.
I think it's incredibly important just to get feedback on your idea, and then also it's great for networking with other businesses on campus.
And definitely being able to pitch in front of investors and starting to practice, that's also huge.
The RVD iPrize competition is hosted by the iSchool and Blackstone Launchpad, which works closely with teams like Ravel. The Launchpad is an entrepreneurship resource center for any student, staff, or alumni looking to start a business. Program coordinator at the Launchpad, Braden Croy, says this competition is one of the best ways for new entrepreneurs, such as the Ravel Collective, to gain startup funding from the $40,000 that is up for grabs.
I mean, it's free money. Like, how can you say no to that? You have to work hard for it, but at the end of the day, our goal is to give students every resource that they need to be successful.
While there is a lot of potential money at stake, Ravel doesn't want to lose focus of why their company exists in the first place.
It's inspired a lot of people to get out there and travel, so to be able to support that industry and help those guys be able to create content that inspires action and, you know, not just leaving people inspired to go somewhere, but allows them to actually get there, is definitely the vision.
The teams will have 5 minutes to pitch their business ideas, followed by a 5-minute Q&A in one of 4 categories with the judges. The competition takes place on March 23rd, right here in Byrd Library. Reporting live from Mornings on the Hill, I'm Amnea Bushnab.
Coming up here on Mornings on the Hill, bringing awareness to cancer through film. We took a look at how one university PR group is leading and helping hand.
Also coming up, one Newhouse student is combining his love of drawing with his passion for making the world a better place. Stay with us for those stories and much more here on Mornings on the Hill.
Welcome back to Mornings on the Hill. Mayfest programming for Syracuse University is going to be expanded come springtime.
The Division of Enrollment and the Student Experience says there will be more activities, food, and entertainment options. SU student Cole Zimmerman talks about what he would like to see added to the Mayfest schedule.
Some more activities, because sometimes during the outdoor portion, when you're outside, you're waiting for the concert, there's not really much to do. Maybe if they just threw some bounce houses or like the silent disco that they did at Juice Jam, that's a great idea. Just some stuff to do while you're waiting for that concert.
The planning committee will convene a subcommittee of students to help give more diverse and robust options for Mayfest activities. Details regarding the musical performances, tickets, and other activities will be given at a later date. Mayfest will be on Friday, April 27th.
Looking around class, I know that I see many people enjoy doodling on this side of their notebooks.
But one Newhouse grad student started doodling with a greater purpose in mind. You may have seen one of these posters all around Newhouse. The person putting them up is Toby Atah. He started Doodle the News last fall, partly because he wanted to get better at drawing, but also to encourage kids to find their voice.
For what it's worth, I think today is the day where kids are really starting to realize their voices can be heard.
Toby's doodles are inspired by the United Nations Vision 2030 plan. It's a plan with 17 sustainable goals to make the world a better place. Toby isn't sure what his future holds when he graduates in May, but he hopes Doodle the News will be a part of it. Syracuse University's Hill Communications Bateman team is teaming up with an organization called With Purpose.
With Purpose is dedicated to bringing awareness to pediatric cancer research and its treatment options.
Last night, SU Hill Communications provided a special screening of the movie Fault in Our Stars in Newhouse Herg Auditorium.
In order to kind of establish the emotional connection between what With Purpose is doing and our campus and the people on our campus, we're hoping that through this movie we can kind of show people what it's like to live as a child with cancer.
Free popcorn and drinks were provided for everyone who attended the event. Stoneman Douglas may be heading back into the classroom today, but it's their efforts in the last couple of weeks that have sparked national attention.
The Parkland students have gone from victims to advocates, demanding a change to the nation's gun control laws. Our Alana Selden has been following an important conversation on Twitter this week. Alana?
Time for schools and especially high school seniors looking to head to college next year. Following the deadly shooting, student leaders have organized protests in solidarity with the students of Parkland, and some school districts have threatened to suspend students who participate. However, nearly 50 universities nationwide, and that number keeps growing, are saying this will not affect their admission decisions. Syracuse University and several Central New York colleges have joined the list of schools refusing to punish applicants for their peaceful efforts to demand safety in schools. In Central New York, we have here Cornell University says they value civic discourse as essential to the academic mission and promotes public engagement as critical to inspiring future leaders. Disciplinary action resulting from responsible engagement and nonviolent protests will not jeopardize admission to Cornell. And also SU just recently announced that their admissions decisions will not be affected by participation in these things, and they have gotten a lot of support from the Orange Nation. That will do it for me with the Orange Twitter update. Back to you guys, Epiphany and Allison.
SU recently announced a nearly 8% hike in tuition and room and board costs. It means for incoming freshmen, the yearly price tag for attending SU will top $70,000.
Our Christine Morton is live in studio this morning with Student Government President James Franco to talk about the impact.
Thank you, Epiphany and Allison. Good morning, James. I appreciate you talking with us this morning. Over the summer, Chancellor Ken Severide talked about investing $100 million into Syracuse University to improve academics and give opportunity to underrepresented students through scholarships. It seems now this comes with a hefty price for the incoming 2018-2019 students and transfer students. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. Although it hasn't turned away students, we have the record number of applicants this year going for the new freshman class, so students are okay with this price tag apparently.
Okay, that was actually my follow-up question. Do you think that it was going to deter students from looking at it or maybe hinder their using Syracuse as a part of their pool of possibilities? But you're saying no?
No, I mean, from what the statistics show, it's still worrisome seeing that high of a price tag, but obviously high school students are seeing Syracuse as a place they want to attend. Of course, number of applications doesn't translate into students actually submitting a deposit to come here, so we'll still see, but still a record number of applications despite that high price tag it says something.
What do you think it's saying? What do you think is drawing these students despite that price tag? Why do you think students are still saying SU is my choice?
So I think it's two things. I think one is we're showing the university is ready to commit to more student-facing services. So with that price tag, you're going to get more mental health services, a better recreational facility, more transportation options, just a better experience while you're at Syracuse. And then the second part, that price tag isn't what every student pays. So I'd be interested to see what the discount rate is. So what's the actual amount after scholarship or financial aid that students will be paying? Because if financial aid goes up with this number, because like you said, they're trying to give more financial aid, maybe it balances out in the end, but I guess we'll have to see for next year.
What do you hope the $100 million that they are trying to do over that 5-year plan, what do you hope that money goes towards when it comes to academics? What would you like to see?
So yeah, so in terms of academics, they're hiring 100 new professors, trying to get more professors that can engage with students, make your degree as worthy as it can once you graduate. Also, in terms of services, so they've already invested some for the mental health counseling center, for the Euclid shuttle, that's where the money came from. So if we can get more money to student-facing services as quick as possible, where students can actually enjoy that, I think that will make that money worth it, or at least, hopefully. That's still a big price tag.
So to play a little bit of devil's advocate for any student that might be on the fence of whether or not to pursue SU because of that price, what do you have to say to them?
No, absolutely. So I think come here, not only will you see a totally transformed university from when I first stepped foot on here in 2014, but also it's not just, the buildings and the services, it's the people. The most valuable thing I'll take away from the university isn't my degree, although that's important. It's the contacts of my phone. Who can I text? Who can I call in a couple of years? And Syracuse University does that really well.
Absolutely. Networking is definitely super important when it comes to here at Syracuse University. Thanks once again to James Franco for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Still to come on Mornings on the Hill, a group here on campus is getting ready to take the stage this weekend. From tap dancing to hip hop, those involved say it is an event you don't want to miss. Stay with us for that story and more. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Mornings on the Hill. Step into Shine Student Center this weekend and you won't be hearing singing voices, but instead the sound of dancers giving it all they got.
Our own Caitlin Pearson is live in studio to show us how one group on campus is using dance to tell their story. Caitlin?
It has been said that to watch someone dance is to hear their hearts speak. And this Friday and Saturday during their Spring Spectacular, DanceWorks plans to let their bodies, through dance and movement, do all the talking.
This now empty auditorium come this weekend will soon be full, something the members of DanceWorks have been looking forward to all year.
DanceWorks is one of the largest student-run dance organizations on campus, and basically our whole organization is around the goal that we have a show at the end of the year, in March this weekend.
To prepare for the show, the dancers and especially the executive board, you could say, have put in a few hours of work.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
From producing, choreographing, and dancing, the board says you can feel the heart and soul put into the show.
A lot of work is put into it, so I feel like you'll be able to feel how passionate we are while we're on stage, in the audience.
The show will take place in Goldstein Auditorium in the Shine Student Center. And with classes and other extracurricular activities, the girls say they continue to dance not because it's what they do, but because it's who they are.
I've never lost a passion for it for a second. It's just always been my escape. It's where I find my friends. It's where I go no matter how I'm feeling. And just the passion that people have for dance is something that's unlike anything else I've ever experienced.
In the end, I only had one final question for the executive board.
So what should I expect at the show on Saturday?
A lot of fun.
It's gonna be a blast. So we have every single style. There's hip hop, there's sappy, sad lyrical, there's fun tap, there's upbeat, in-your-face jazz. It's gonna be a blast.
What to some may seem like a simple dance, to the members of DanceWorks, it means everything.
Now, I'm sure it will be an incredibly emotional night for those seniors involved, but they assure me that it will be a very entertaining evening for everyone. Now, tickets are on sale in the Shine box office or online. It's $3 for students and $5 for faculty, and then for the general public, it's $7. Reporting live in studio for Mornings on the Hill, I'm Caitlin Pearson.
Finally, this half hour, we are joined by our colleagues, Odea and Sarah. And we're taking a look at Lewis Manor Labradoodles, a local breeding company.
To train the dogs, they take them to public places like SU's campus. Lewis Manor Labradoodles opened in 2010. All of the puppies that they train were born in their home. It's a family-owned business, but they have employees to help them on their field trips.
Their owner says the field trips allow the dogs to socialize, and the more socialization they get early on, the more rounded the puppies will be. That will do it for us on Mornings on the Hill. I'm Epiphany Catling. Thanks for watching The Orange Nation.
And I'm Allison Calaguire. Don't go away. Mornings on the Hill continues right after this break. Odea and Sarah and the rest of the team will be here with much more. Are you guys excited?
Good morning, I'm Odea Pincus. Thanks for joining us on Mornings on the Hill.
And I'm Sarah Perks. Here are some of the looks at our top stories we're going to be talking about in just a second for this half hour.
On campus, creating a safe space for students with autism. We'll tell you how.
The Syracuse Student African American Society commemorates the death anniversary of Trayvon Martin.
And an SU student will have his film screened at a major festival.
All that plus your weather and orange sports coming up on this edition of Mornings on the Hill.
And our top story this half hour, a new group is making sure students who face special challenges are welcome on campus.
Our Liliana Pearson joins us live with the story.
On the Spectrum is a group of Syracuse students who have created a club aimed to provide a safe and inclusive space for people on the autism spectrum. I went to one of their first meetings to learn more about their needs and concerns.
Whether you come by foot or wheel, On the Spectrum's first meeting was focused on ensuring students with autism have a place to come together.
We just need a place to like unload, you know, to like all this like, you know, microaggressions that happen on every day. It's a place where we can like joke about it and vent.
Chris Damon Cronmiller is one of the creators of OTS. He said one of the first steps to ensuring a safe and fair environment on campus is acknowledging what autism is.
I mean, yeah, it's a condition. Yeah, I still consider it a disability in some sense, but it's just another aspect of human diversity, if you will.
Wong said they wanted to be a part of OTS to bring awareness to the needs students with autism might have in the classroom.
I think that a lot of the professors could tend to be more understanding. That, you know, sometimes people need to move, so they need to use technology.
Wong said by having a group on campus to normalize autism, it can help make other students feel more comfortable when they have an autistic classmate.
And I think that in general, people should understand that as long as you're not hurting anyone, you know, we're all adults here. If someone's doing something that might look weird, it's probably for a reason.
On the Spectrum holds meetings every few weeks and invites anyone on the autism spectrum to join them. Because they are a newer group, they don't have a regular schedule, but are hoping to host more events this semester. Reporting live, I'm Liliana Pearson for Mornings on the Hill.
And it's time for another check on your weather for today.
My Owens is live on University Ave to show us what to expect.
Hey guys, well, everyone has been enjoying the weather so far. Is it February or is it April? Slightly windy, might want to throw on a light jacket, but other than that, you might want to keep your umbrella nearby. Taking a look at this evening and the rest of the week, your umbrella might be your new best friend. Starting with this evening and today, there is a 60% chance of rain coming our way. The high for today is 59 and low of 37. Today will be the highest temperatures we see for the week. Moving on to Thursday with another 60% chance of rain and with a low of 34 and high of 47. Thursday will be the perfect day to stay inside. Friday will kick off the weekend for us, but unfortunately we'll most likely be singing in the rain with a 90% chance of rain and a low of 28. You might not even notice the high of 36, but be sure to be careful on those slick roads. Saturday, there is a 20% chance of rain with the low being 26 and a high of 25. So just be on the lookout on your way to the Carrier Dome for the men's last basketball home game. An orange umbrella would actually be the perfect accessory for the weather and the game. It seems as though Sunday will be the brightest day of the week, no pun intended, with a low of 25 degrees and a high of 38. Only a 20% chance of rain, so just be sure to look out your window before heading out for the day. Now, these temperatures are subject to change. We might see some snow coming in. We have a lot of rain and a lot of cold temperatures, so it will be no surprise if we end up with snow here in Syracuse. But, you know, be sure to just throw on some boots and a jacket and you'll sure be fine. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Mai. I don't know about you, but I'm so excited to take advantage of that nice weather.
Oh, absolutely.
And in other news, according to the American Suicide Prevention Foundation, there is on average 123 suicides each day here in the U.S., making it the 10th leading cause of death.
Now, students from the College of Engineering and Computer Science at SU are testing an Android app that might help save some lives in the future.
Graduate students Siddhartha Roy Nandi and Pranika Jain created the Android app Psych Social under the supervision of Professor Chilakuri Mohan. Professor Mohan says the app will allow psychiatrists to keep track of social media postings from their patients.
He says over time, the app's software will analyze the patient's Facebook pages for trigger words of distress.
We have taken a small initiative to help psychiatrists where they'll be analyzing their patient conditions from time to time, and they'll be able to give them a proper line of treatment.
But if the doctor already knows that a patient is depressed, then they can look into it over time, and they would keep track of the patient over time, and they'll meet them once in a while and provide some feedback to the system so that the system itself knows what is normal and what is abnormal.
Right now, the Psych Social app is not currently on the market, but is being tested amongst certain doctors and their patients.
And Dick's Sporting Goods has announced that it will stop selling assault-style weapons. Today, the nation's largest sports retailer, which has a number of stores in upstate New York, also said that it will no longer sell high-capacity magazines.
Dick's has also decided to raise the age for all its gun sales to 21. This big announcement comes 2 weeks after the school shooting in Parkland, Florida.
And this week marked the 6th anniversary of the death of Trayvon Martin. The Syracuse Student African American Society called Monday Hoodies Up Day. They asked the SU community to help commemorate the day by wearing their hoodies all day. The goal was to have students reflect and think on all the lives lost over the year. And one student says, it's a way to put life in perspective. Trayvon Martin was 17 years old when he died, and the tragedy sparked momentum for the Black Lives Matter movement. And the Newhouse School Public Relations Department recently hosted an event focused on women in the PR industry who are giving back. And our own Jose Cuevas joins us in the studio with more.
That's right. In an industry where promoting a brand is paramount, these leaders reminded young women that the most important brand to promote is their own.
I was surprised, like we walked in and we were standing room only and we really couldn't do anything. I couldn't bring out my laptop, so I was typing notes on my phone.
To say it was a packed house at the Progress SU event would be an understatement.
That's awesome, and it's also good to see that people are turning out to these events and they want to know more about diversity and like women in PR.
Some came seeking guidance.
Events like these really help students like me, just to see people in these types of positions and to understand like this is where I could be and this is where I could see myself.
And that's what Progress SU was all about, the opportunity for PR students to hear from powerful women of diverse backgrounds, share their experiences and their challenges. It was also an opportunity for students to ask some challenging questions.
Between constructive criticism and criticism that you think is not really beneficial to you. So how do you react to it? How do you, I guess, take it in and take it with a grain of salt?
Discerning and differentiating between that feedback is very challenging. It's certainly something I've struggled with in my career, and so I was thrilled when someone asked that question because it took a great deal of insight.
The panelists gave words of encouragement.
Don't feel like you have to cut yourself down. You should be able to be true to who you are 100%.
Ms. Royer told the students of a time where her male superiors told her not to wear heels.
And you know what I did? Because I only present in my heels. I went into my hotel room and I got the tallest pair of heels I had, and I strutted up on stage, and in that moment, I owned.
The event was a great success. Nearly 150 students attended the event. The new SPR department hopes to put on a similar event in the future. Reporting live, I'm Jose Cuevas for Mornings on the Hill.
And coming up here on Mornings on the Hill, Student Association President James Franco is back with us to discuss the campus response to the gun debate.
Also coming up, a former Syracuse basketball player comes back to campus to discuss activism and sports. Stay with us for those stories and much more here on Mornings on the Hill.
Thanks for sticking with us this AM. Student Association President James Franco joins us once again. Thank you so much, James, for coming back.
Thank you.
So let's jump right into it. We're going to talk about the gun debate here. How do you feel the campus response has been?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely been something that's, I think, shaken a lot of students. We've got a lot of outreach about wanting students to activate and kind of be activists within their own communities or in DC or just wherever they can be to advocate for change if that's what they believe in. A lot of students, I feel like, do believe that on this campus.
Now, as someone that's so comfortable with public speaking, I mean, you are the SA president, how do you feel about the debate that's going around inside the gun debate about the actors and people that are coming out and being, quote, paid, as some people are saying?
I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, to go through a tragedy, and everyone goes through different tragedies in your life, but to be part of a mass shooting in a school, and then to say that you're acting, and you can't act those emotions, you can't act those nightmares that you'll have, you can't act those fears. I think it's disgusting to say that for those students to say that they're paid actors.
Yeah. And I know you just mentioned they obviously went through a tragedy, and hopefully a tragedy like that would never happen here. But being in charge of students, and obviously that happened at a high school, it could very well happen at a college.
Absolutely.
Being in a leadership position, how do you feel you can take control of that?
Absolutely. So one thing that we've been trying to work with DPS is something called Run, Hide, Fight, which I think at our last survey only 50% of students know, so we're trying to spread that. It's like a 5-minute video. It was made by DPS, and particularly to Syracuse, so just what that means if there's a situation here in school, other ways that we can just be safe, and also, like you had mentioned, there's some mental health concerns about it as well. So just making sure we have the right counseling center resources and whatever it may be, so that we have everything as possible to make sure it doesn't happen here. Although, like we said, if something does happen, that Run, Hide, Fight, to be able to make sure that you can respond appropriately.
And how is the best way for students? I know you guys said you were publicizing that video. What is the best way for students to be able to watch that?
Absolutely. So you can go into the DPS website, and if you can navigate their website, you will find it. We'll also probably be sending out, we're looking to do a safety email right before spring break or right after, right when it starts getting warmer weather. So what should you have on your phone, like the Live Safe app, which is like a blue light button in your hand that you can press immediately and law enforcement can come to you. Different things like that so that students know, you may never need this at all. But kind of like when you get into a plane, you always go through that process of put on your air mask first. I've never been in a plane crash, but hopefully for this, you know what to do, but you'll hopefully never be in a situation
No,
like
and
that.
I think that's a really good metaphor. We always hear about that on a plane, like you said. Now, I know you guys are trying to look to send buses actually down to Washington later in March. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So a lot of student organizations and individual students have reached out to us saying that they want to do something. They want to talk to the change makers in our country. So we're looking and seeing if it's possible to send a couple buses down to DC for the March for Our Lives. There's also going to be a March for Our Lives in Syracuse. So sending a couple buses there too for the students that fill up those buses and can't make it to DC, making change in our local community as well.
And when will students know about if these buses are happening and how they can sign up for them?
Absolutely. So we're making the plan now, kind of the numbers, seeing what the itinerary would look like, and we should be up for a vote for it on Monday's assembly meeting next week.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, and we will keep in touch with that.
Sounds
thank
good.
you so
Thank
much
you so
for
much.
joining me, James.
Sounds good.
And I'm Nicole Dementry, throwing it back over to Odea and Sarah at the desk. Thank you, guys.
And a former Syracuse basketball player and 11-year NBA veteran stopped by his alma mater on Monday.
Etan Thomas spoke at Hendricks Chapel as part of the Maxwell School's Tanner Lecture Series.
Apart from an athlete, Thomas is also a writer and discussed his new book, We Matter: Athletes and Activism.
Thomas spoke about his time at Syracuse University and was introduced by his former coach, Jim Boeheim.
Now, during the talk, Thomas explained the reactions that athletes can get when they speak out on these social issues.
Anybody could say they're supportive of them using their platform and speaking out when they agree with them. That's not really hard to do. But when they disagree with them, then that's when the shut up and play part comes.
Following the event, a reception was held in Eggers Hall where Thomas sold and signed copies of his book.
And Relay for Life happens once a year on SU's campus.
Each semester, the Relay for Life Committee plans a Krispy Kreme donut event to raise money.
Now, the nearest Krispy Kreme is 2 hours away, which makes the demand for donuts higher, but the committee members pitch in to pay for gas and other expenses, so all the money goes back to Relay for Life. Last year, they bought 150 boxes of donuts and sold all of them. And if you want to buy a box, you can fill out the order form locked on their Facebook page.
Krispy Kreme is something that people love, and a lot of people are also passionate about kind of finding a cure for cancer, and so we figured people would definitely be enthusiastic and participate with us.
Last semester, the committee raised $800 for Relay for Life. This year, they want to raise the same amount or more. All of the money raised goes towards cancer research. If you do not pre-order a box of donuts, you can still buy one at the Life Sciences Complex on March 1st.
And University Union is hosting an advanced screening of Jennifer Lawrence's newest film called Red Sparrow. But for J-Law fans, the event on Thursday will be extra special.
The 7 p.m. movie will be followed by a virtual Q&A session with the actress and Pastor Francis Lawrence. Students can RSVP to the free screening now. Doors open at 6:15 p.m. and seating is on a first-come, first-served basis.
Good morning, I'm Zach Staten with your Orange Sports Update here on Mornings on the Hill. The story sweeping throughout college sports is the FBI's investigation into multiple college basketball programs. Last week, Yahoo's Pete Thamel and Pat Forty released expense sheets alleging multiple current and former college basketball players took money from ASM Sports Agency. After SU's loss Saturday to Duke, Syracuse coach Jim Boeheim was asked about the investigation, and he indicated there's no easy fix for these kinds of scandals.
I've never been opposed. The cost of attendance was a great thing, and I think we can expand that. Parents should be able to come to a game. Parents should be able to go to every tournament game. We could do all that. I think that's good. That is not going to stop an agent from trying to get a player. This is one agent. Do you think these other agents aren't doing anything? Do you think they're just not going after parents, not talking to parents or anything? We have blinders on.
Former SU guard John Gillen's name was on the expense sheet, but with no money attached. He did sign with an ASM agent, but it's unclear as to why his name is written. No current Syracuse players are named in the report. Boeheim and company have a lot more on their minds right now, though, as the tournament hopes took a major blow with back-to-back losses to UNC and Duke. Down to their final 2 games, the Orange are in must-win situations for both in order to stay alive in the NCAA tournament conversation. Tonight, the Orange are in Chestnut Hill for a game against Boston College, a team Syracuse has already handed a loss to earlier in the year. The Orange offense shot 60% from the field against the Eagles and cruised to an 81-63 victory back in January. Tyus Battle led the team in points with 24, 9 of 14 shooting, while Frank Howard chipped in 18 points with 3 threes. Pascal Chukwu had 14 points, 1 shy of a season high. He also had 7 boards. The Orange and the Eagles tip off tonight at 9 p.m. and you can catch it on the ACC network. Meanwhile, the women's basketball team's regular season is wrapped up and it's time for postseason play. The Orange travel to Greensboro this week as the 8th seed in the ACC tournament. But in their final game of the regular season, Syracuse had to go down to the wire to beat 14th seed Boston College 69-63. And after the game, Coach Quentin Hillsman said he knew his team would need to go through a tough game to be ready for tournament time.
At some point, you have to go through some adversity to get better. And adversity builds character. It's nothing but training your character. So for us, that was our goal, is to try to at least win 10 wins in the conference, and we got 10.
Coach Q's squad plays their first ACC tournament game against 9th seed Virginia Tech tomorrow. The Hokies beat the Orange in the team's only meeting of the season, handing Syracuse their first home loss of the year on February 1st. The women's ice hockey team wrapped up its season Saturday with a 4-0 loss at the hands of Robert Morris. The Orange finished the season with a 12-20-2 record and a conference record of 11-8-1. SU now moves on to Buffalo for the College Hockey America Tournament. The 3rd seed in the tournament, they'll take on Rochester Institute of Technology tomorrow. The puck drops at 1 p.m. And one final note regarding college basketball, Shaquille O'Neal's son, Sharif, is going to be playing his college basketball at UCLA. Originally committed to Arizona, he decommitted after the Wildcats were caught up in the FBI investigation. That's your sports update. I'm Zach Staten. Still more to come here on Mornings on the Hill. An SU student's short film is getting national exposure at film festivals. That story and Weekends on the Hill when we come back.
And welcome back. Sarah, I can only imagine how exciting this must be. He's a junior TRF, television, radio, and film student at SU, and he's taking his short film all the way to Los Angeles.
Our own Gianna Astorito spoke to student Sam Shapiro about his journey as a filmmaker.
Sam Shapiro has always wanted to be a filmmaker and made his dreams a reality in his junior year when he was accepted to 2 film festivals.
I screamed at the top of my lungs. I couldn't believe it.
But none of this could have happened without a little help from someone up above.
When I was a senior in high school, one of my best friends and hockey line mates, Anthony Masha, was killed in a car accident.
Shapiro says he and Masha drifted towards the end of his life, a guilt that he still carries with him today.
That feeling of guilt turned into a script I wrote for TRF 211 called Scissor Pass, which was about 2 friends that have drifted apart over time.
The film emphasizes Shapiro's personal growth, and with writing the script, gave him closure.
He loved country music. I threw some country music in there for him. He loved hockey. He loved life, and I feel like those are essential parts of what encapsulates the film.
The film took off this summer when Shapiro hired a professional cast and crew and even decided to play himself.
Because of how personal the story was to me, I felt almost some sense of obligation to star in it, which was hard, which was very hard.
And on February 16th, Anthony Masha's birthday, Shapiro was invited to the Beverly Hills Film Festival.
To have your film recognized by people that have been doing this a lot longer than you have, especially first time out, first time really trying to do something grand. It's so awesome. It's so awesome.
The world premiere of Scissor Pass will take place March 25th at the Garden State Film Festival, and then Sam will head to LA from the 4th to the 8th of April for the screening at the Beverly Hills Film Festival. And Sam, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much, Gianna. It's been a pleasure.
For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Gianna Astorito.
I'm Alana Selden, and here's what's going on this weekend here on the Hill. Tomorrow, the Newhouse School will wrap up its social commerce days as it celebrates the W2O Center's 5th anniversary. Speakers will reflect on the years since the center was established and what has changed. The event will be from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. in the Herg Auditorium in Newhouse 3. Also, the women's basketball team heads into the ACC tournament and will face number 9 Virginia Tech at 2 p.m. in Greensboro, North Carolina. On Friday, graduation is right around the corner, and some of you might be looking for a job. Well, the Career Development Center will host the Job Hunt Marathon. The seminar will cover how to find jobs in the communications industry and organizing your search. The CDC recommends juniors and seniors to meet in the Tarico Classroom, Newhouse 3 from 2 to 4:30. And on Saturday, the men's basketball team suits up for their last game of the regular season against Clemson, the last one in the Carrier Dome. The Orange and Tigers tip off at 2 p.m. And that's Weekends on the Hill. For this week, I'm Alana Selden.
And March may not officially begin until tomorrow, but that did not stop Syracuse from celebrating the start of St. Patrick's Day season on Green Beer Sunday.
The parade started at Upside Down Tip Hill traffic light and was led by Mayor Ben Walsh and his family. The rain helped off as parade goers watched Irish step dancers, bagpipes, and some furry friends walk in the 1 block long parade. Bringing up the rear, as always, was the tanker filled with imported green beer. And if you missed the green beer on Sunday, do not worry because the St. Patrick's Day parade is on Saturday, March 17th.
And that's going to do it for us here on Mornings on the Hill. I'm Odea Pincus. Follow us on social media.
And I'm Sarah Perks. Thanks for watching Orange Nation. We'll see you next Wednesday.